Hi everyone. Wanted to make a video in which I go over the contents of week one with you. So I'm on our English 205 My Classroom homepage here, and I'm going to hit content. That's how I like to navigate through the site. You can also scroll down and you'll see the week one folder right here. So I'm going to hit content. This will take me to all the content in the course. And then I'm going to go to week one right here. I'm going to hit launch unit. If I want to go to something specific in this folder, I can open up either learning materials or activities and assessments, and that will show me all the various pages in the module. But because I want to walk you through everything, let's just hit launch unit. At the beginning of each week, you'll just see like a name of the week, and that's about it. So this week is establishing a strong foundation. Let's go ahead and move on. We have learning materials you'll find after that. Notice that I'm navigating with these arrows in the upper right hand corner. And so this is really kind of where things begin. We have an overview of each week. So this week, establishing a strong foundation. You're going to be learning about the importance of critical thinking and how that applies to being a good reader and writer. As a nurse, the ability to understand, evaluate, and apply information is really important. And it's the foundation for the first major project in this class, which we are going to begin working on in week two. This week, there's also going to be a focus on defining, recognizing, and avoiding plagiarism. You'll see the week one objectives here. So after completing this week's work, ideally you should be able to recall critical thinking skills, examine literal meaning, recognize truth and accuracy in a text, identify common types of plagiarism, recommend methods to avoid plagiarism using APA style, and explain the concept of nurses as writers. Here you'll see a list of all the readings and resources for this week. So this week, the main reading is going to be from Chapter 4 in your textbook. There's not a physical textbook for this class. It's just an ebook. You will access that via McGraw-Hill Connect. We have some info here about plagiarism, discussing different types of plagiarism, because not all types of plagiarism are the same. We have a guide on using Turnitin. Turnitin is going to be really important in this class to make sure that your paper is not plagiarized. There can be some pretty dire consequences if you plagiarize your work. So we want to make sure that we understand how to use Turnitin and how to avoid plagiarism. Along with that, we have a module here on academic misconduct, which if you have not worked through this module before, please do so. I'm going to jump ahead to a couple of things here. We have another resource on understanding text similarity. So this is kind of an explanation of how Turnitin works. And we have a reading on why healthcare professionals should write. And then down towards the bottom here, we have some resources on McGraw-Hill Connect. This video in particular, I think these are all useful. This one in particular, though, I think gives a really good overview explanation of how McGraw-Hill assignments are going to work in this class. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, but these resources here provide a lot of clarity. Now we're moving into our activities and assessments part of week one. The first assignment here, 1-1, is a McGraw-Hill Connect module. If you all have taken English 200 here at Hondros, you'll be pretty familiar with these assignments. You will need to master or fully complete these assignments in order to get credit. So you need to earn 100% on them. Even if you get a 99% on the module, that will still result in 0 credit. So you must complete it 100%. I recommend, as I mentioned, watching the video. I'll show you another link for that in a second. I thought it was down here, but I think it's elsewhere. But to kind of give you an overview, basically there are readings that you will do. and then you'll be asked questions about those readings, and the program will keep asking you questions until you have mastered the concepts, and it will target areas where you are missing concepts. So if you keep getting certain types of questions wrong, you'll keep getting asked those same questions until the program recognizes that you have mastered the concept. This is due by 11:55 p.m. on Sunday. And let me click this. This is going to take us to the McGraw-Hill Connect page in our class. We have some info here on how to log into McGraw-Hill for the first time. This will take you to the actual like textbook and the questions. And here, this is what I was looking for earlier. This is a really helpful video that shows you how to navigate McGraw-Hill Connect as well as how the assignments work. If I scroll down a little bit, you'll see what you need to do for each week. So week 1, I would take a look at these overviews and these walkthroughs. These are helpful information. And the 3 things that you'll actually be completing are right here. In week 2, you'll be doing these 2 things. In week 3, you'll be doing these 3 things, and so on. So that's your first assignment for week 1. I'm going to move on. I'm going to hit this arrow here. Next, we have discussion forum A. So you actually have 2 discussion forums this week, A and B. This first one is introducing yourself and also talking about nurses as writers. To do this assignment correctly, you need to first read this article, Why Healthcare Professionals Should Write. Then in your initial post, for all of your discussion board posts, you're going to have an initial post, and then you're going to have some reply posts in which you need to respond to your peers. The initial posts are always due on Thursdays, and the reply posts are always due on Sundays. Now, the initial posts, you are allowed to turn those in up to 2 days late. The reply posts, however, must be turned in by Sunday at 11:55 p.m. Otherwise, you will not receive credit for them. Anyway, in your initial post here, introduce yourself to your writers group. So you're not actually going to be interacting with everyone in the class. You'll be assigned a small group of other peers, and that's who you will be primarily interacting with. You don't have to worry about being assigned a group. That happens automatically. For your initial posts, talk about your hobbies, your career goals, what you hope to learn from this class. Share as much or as little as you feel comfortable with. Then make sure that you write about your initial response to Shaw's article, this right here, Why Healthcare Professionals Should Write. And I'd like you to describe your past writing experiences. In your opinion, how can writing have a positive impact on you as an individual, healthcare professional, and a student? So that's the initial post. That's due by Thursday. In your responses, seek out what you have in common with your group members and share your thoughts about how writing has an impact on the major roles. Here we have some instructions on how to make these submissions. Here we have the rubric. This is how I will be grading both your initial posts and your reply posts. Some instructions here on how to actually make the posts. Please note that your initial post this week for Forum A needs to be 250 to 300 words. Your reply posts need to be 100 to 150. To actually make your post, you'll hit this button, Start a New Thread. Now, because I'm an instructor, I can post to any of the groups. You shouldn't need to select that. I believe it will automatically just post to the group that you have been assigned. You'll give your forum a subject, so I might call this Introducing Me / Nurses as Writers, and then I would type out my initial response here. Then you will hit Post. From there, you should be able to see all the other threads that have been posted to your group, and there'll be a button to reply to your other group members. That's how you will do the reply posts. Oops, went too far back. There we go. But as I said, that was my kind of brief summary, but we have detailed instructions here on how to make both initial posts and reply posts. Now this week you happen to have a couple of discussion forums. The second one, so this is assignment 1-3, this is forum B, this one focuses on plagiarism. In order to do this assignment, Take a look at the white paper, Plagiarism Spectrum, and then read Using Turnitin in My Classroom and Reading Similarity Reports. Additionally, you should take a look at the Understanding Text Similarity document. So I pointed out some of those resources to you when I was going through the readings and resources for week 1. For this assignment, you should select one of the 10 types of plagiarism to focus on in your initial post. Do not select a type that has already been written about by one of the other people in your group. So before you make your initial post, check to see if anyone else has posted to the group. If they have, pick a different type of plagiarism than what they decided to write about. For your initial post, talk about the type of plagiarism you selected. In your own words, explain what it is. Try to be specific and provide an example of that type of plagiarism. Explain why it's considered plagiarism, and then specifically explain how that type of plagiarism can be avoided. In your reply posts, again, these are due by Sunday, 11:55 p.m. on Sunday. You're going to write a summary of what you learned from your group members' post. You're going to offer suggestions of other ways that form of plagiarism can be avoided. And you're also going to explain how the Turnitin Similarity Report can be used to detect and correct the type of plagiarism that your group member talked about. And again, we have our instructions here on how to make those initial posts and reply posts. The initial post for this forum needs to be 250 to 300 words, due by 11:55 p.m. on Thursday. Your reply posts need to be 100 to 150 words, and that is due 11:55 p.m. on Sunday. Make sure that any information that you use in your posts is cited in APA style. Now, the wording of this could be a little bit confusing. I've had this mislead people in the past. This says outside sources, but really that means like any information that you got outside of your own mind, outside of your own, examples that you create. So, for instance, if you use any information from the white paper, you'll need to cite that in APA style. If you use any information from using either of these Turnitin documents, you'll need to cite that in APA. Likewise, for the 1-2 forum, you're being asked to respond to Shaw's article. So you might think like, oh, well, that's not an outside source. That's a source from the class. But really, what this should say is that any sources must be cited in APA style. So please don't overlook that. Luckily, though, all of the readings in the class have already been cited in APA. I'll show you where to find those. It's back under Learning Materials and then Readings and Resources. So all of these here are in APA style. So, like, for instance, we have the white paper here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I almost overlooked it. Here's the Shaw article. So essentially all of the APA citations have been done for you. You just need to copy and paste them into your discussion board post. Please keep in mind, though, that in APA you are supposed to have a hanging indent. The way that this page is formatted, there are not hanging indents. So please copy and paste these citations here. They are correct, but you'll need to make sure that they are formatted all right on your posts. And that is it. So you have 3 assignments this week. You have the McGraw-Hill Connect module and 2 discussion board posts. When you get to the last page of a weekly module, weekly folder, you'll see this progress bar. It'll show you the things that you need to do. This can be a little bit misleading. The McGraw-Hill Connect modules, because those are a separate program, they're not integrated into My Classroom quite as seamlessly as they could be. So My Classroom will basically not know when you have completed the McGraw-Hill Connect module. So don't let this progress bar freak you out. It's rare that this progress bar is going to be accurate. You should know if you have fully completed the McGraw-Hill Connect module. The program will be pretty obvious that you have completed it. When McGraw-Hill tells you that you can recharge the assignment, that's an indicator that you've completed it. You've done everything 100%. So again, don't let this progress bar mislead you. It's not until I actually go in and like enter grades for the McGraw-Hill Connect modules that this will show that you have completed everything. So to help kind of deal with that, to combat that issue, I send out checklists each week of everything that you need to do. I also will send out an announcement that lists all of the due dates. So using those resources, it shouldn't be too hard to know when you have completed everything that you need to. But if you're ever not sure and you just want to clarify, feel free to send me an email. I'm happy to double check for you that you have completed everything that you need to. That is it for week 1. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out.